In the early hours of May 12, 1986, the team of climbers gathered at the base of Mount Hood, their breath visible in the cold morning air. They were a mix of seasoned veterans and eager novices, brought together by a shared passion for the mountain's allure and a thirst for adventure. The climb ahead was daunting, but they were confident. They had prepared meticulously, or so they thought. As they began their ascent, the mood was light, almost carefree. The group bantered back and forth, their laughter echoing against the icy slopes. But as they climbed higher, the mountain's mood seemed to shift. The sky, once clear and bright, began to darken. A chill settled over the group, far colder than they had anticipated. The first uneasy glances were exchanged, though no one voiced their concerns. The team's leader, a man with years of experience, couldn't shake the feeling of unease that had taken root in his gut. It was as if the mountain was watching them, waiting. Still, he pushed those thoughts aside, focusing on the task at hand. The higher they climbed, the more the mountain revealed its true nature, unpredictable, unforgiving, and utterly indifferent to their lives. As the climbers pressed on, the first signs of trouble began to emerge. A subtle wind picked up, carrying with it a whisper of the storm to come. The snow beneath their feet, once firm, began to shift unpredictably. The mountain, once an ally, now seemed to be turning against them, threatening to pull them into its icy depths. Yet they continued, each step taking them deeper into the mountain's cold embrace, unaware of the darkness that loomed ahead. The summit, their ultimate goal, seemed to grow more distant with every step, as if the mountain itself was playing a cruel game. The storm hits. As the climbers reached higher elevations, the sky that gradually darkened now unleashed its fury. The storm arrived with a sudden and terrifying force, as if the mountain itself had summoned it. Winds roared through the peaks, carrying with them a blinding snow that quickly obscured the path ahead. What had begun as a daunting challenge was now becoming a fight for survival. The temperature plummeted, and the once solid snow beneath their feet turned treacherous, shifting with every step. The team's carefully laid plans crumbled in the face of nature's wrath. Visibility dropped to near zero, and the world around them became an endless expanse of white, broken only by the occasional ghostly outline of a nearby rock or tree. Panic began to set in as the climbers realized just how dire their situation had become. In the midst of the chaos, the group's leader made a fateful decision. They would dig a snow cave to wait out the storm. It was a gamble, a desperate attempt to find some shelter from the relentless elements. The team worked feverishly, their movements slowed by the biting cold and the exhaustion that was beginning to take its toll. As the hours passed, the storm only intensified, the howling wind drowning out any attempts at conversation. The snow cave, though a temporary refuge, offered little comfort. Inside, the temperature was barely above freezing, and the air was thick with tension and fear. Each climber battled their own demons in the darkness, thoughts of survival intermingling with the growing realization that the mountain might not let them leave. Outside, the storm raged on, showing no signs of abating. The climbers, huddled together in their fragile shelter, could do nothing but wait, hoping against hope that the storm would pass and they would be able to make their way down the mountain. But with every passing minute, their chances of survival dwindled. The rescue attempts. As dawn broke over Mount Hood, the storm's fury had not yet subsided. The climbers, huddled together in their makeshift snow cave, faced the cold light of a new day with a growing sense of dread. Their hopeful spirits were now replaced by the grim reality of their dire situation. The mountain had them trapped, and escape seemed impossible. Meanwhile, back at the base of the mountain, concern for the missing climbers escalated. When the group failed to return as planned, a search and rescue operation was quickly mobilized. Experienced mountaineers joined forces with local authorities to comb the mountain for any signs of the team. But even the rescuers were not immune to the dangers of Mount Hood. The storm continued to rage, turning what should have been a rescue into a perilous mission. The search teams faced brutal conditions, biting winds, freezing temperatures, and near-zero visibility. Each step was a battle against the elements, the deepening snow covering any traces the climbers might have left behind. The mountain, it seemed, was determined to keep its secrets buried. The rescuers were in a race against time and nature itself. Hours turned into a brooding day with no sign of the climbers. Anxiety at the base grew as the families of the missing waited helplessly, hoping for a miracle. The rescue teams knew the window for survival in such conditions was narrow, and it was rapidly closing. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, one of the rescue teams came upon the snow cave. It was a small, fragile structure, barely visible beneath the thick layer of fresh snow. As they approached, the rescuers braced themselves for what they might find. Inside, they discovered a scene of devastation. Some climbers were still alive, clinging to the last threads of life, while others had succumbed to the cold. The survivors were rushed down the mountain, their bodies battered by frostbite and exhaustion, their minds haunted by the ordeal. But even in their survival, there was a heavy sense of loss. They had escaped the mountain's clutches, but many of their companions had not been so fortunate. Aftermath and impact. In the days following the rescue, the grim details of the 1986 Mount Hood tragedy began to emerge. The survivors, though physically removed from the mountain, carried with them the heavy burden of loss and trauma. The harrowing experience had not only claimed the lives of their companions, but also left deep emotional scars that would haunt them for years. The families of those who perished grappled with their grief, seeking answers to the unanswerable question of why this tragedy happened. For many, the mountain that had once symbolized beauty and adventure became a place of sorrow and loss. Media coverage painted a vivid picture of the dangers inherent in mountaineering, while also highlighting the resilience and bravery of those who dared to challenge nature's might. An investigation was launched to determine what had gone wrong. The findings were a sobering reminder of the unpredictability of nature and the thin line that separates life from death in the wilderness. The storm that caught the climbers off guard was unusually severe. While some criticized the team's decision to continue despite worsening conditions, others saw it as an unfortunate consequence of the inherent risks in mountaineering. The tragedy led to changes in how future expeditions were planned and executed. Mountaineering organizations took the lessons of 1986 to heart, implementing stricter guidelines for weather assessment and emergency preparedness. The event served as a stark reminder that even the most experienced climbers are at the mercy of the elements, and that respect for nature's power is essential for survival. Despite these changes, the memory of the 1986 Mount Hood tragedy remains haunting. It serves as a cautionary tale for those who venture into the mountains, a reminder that nature's beauty can quickly turn deadly. The names of those who lost their lives are etched into the history of Mount Hood, their stories retold as a testament to the human spirit's resilience and the often cruel hand of fate. The 1986 Mount Hood tragedy serves as a haunting reminder of nature's unforgiving power. The mountain, with its beauty and danger, revealed how quickly adventure can turn into disaster, where the line between life and death is perilously thin. For the survivors, the experience left scars that time cannot heal. They returned from the mountain forever changed, haunted by the memories of that fateful climb. The families of those who didn't return were left with the void, their loved ones now part of the mountain's history, their names etched into its icy slopes. This tragedy reshaped the approach to mountaineering, leading to stricter safety protocols and a deeper respect for nature's unpredictability. Yet, even with these lessons, the mountain remains a place of danger, a reminder that nature always has the final say. As we remember the 1986 Mount Hood tragedy, we honor the courage and resilience of those who faced overwhelming odds. Their legacy lives on, not just in memory, but in the hearts of all who dare to climb, knowing the risks yet driven by the call of the mountains.